Who can help me save my marriage? This is Jay with RelationshipLoveAdvice.com. If you've ever felt like you've exhausted every option you could think up on your own and you just want to storm into some marriage counselor's office and shout, help me save my marriage. Except for the shouting part, you're actually on the right track, looking for advice from someplace other than your own head. Look to friends. If you have any friends who've managed to dodge an impending divorce, ask them how they did it. Don't just think about friends your age either. Older couples can be a gold mine of advice on working through marriage troubles. Even if they seem to have perfect relationship now, you might be surprised to hear what they've gone through and some of the nuggets of wisdom that they have. Of course, the problem with asking friends for advice is their experience is limited to what's worked for them. And what worked for them won't necessarily work for you. It's a matter of just getting the information from them. You can go to online forums. The internet's a great place to find information on just about anything, and marriage is no exception. The advantage of getting advice from forums is that you can ask questions anonymously and get opinions from a variety of people who most likely have a very different viewpoint from you. The drawback is that you won't get necessarily useful responses from everyone who responds. The lack of real-time interaction means that you don't get the back-and-forth dialogue you'd need to really get to the root of your problems and find a workable solution. But they definitely can help. Marriage counseling. It's one of the first things that well-meaning friends ask when you admit that your marriage is on the rocks. Have you seen a counselor? There's good reason for that. A professional marriage counselor has training in resolving marital conflicts and many years of experience working with different types of couples and problems. The trouble is, you usually run in there and your spouse doesn't want to go. Usually your partner believes the marriage is already flatlined, and any attempt to revive it is just a waste of time and energy. If your partner feels that way, you shouldn't give up just yet. While you want to avoid pressuring or begging, simple logic can work wonders. Counseling can help, but it's not a cure-all. Did you know that the average marriage counselor's success rate is only around 30%? That's hardly enough to make it worth shouting to somebody, help me save my marriage. You can use self-help books. If you've been looking online for tips, you probably run into a few of those books that provide guidance for working through the rough patch in a marriage, even when one partner is ready to call it quits. They may not seem like much, but in reality, the best of these can be surprisingly effective. Most of these plans were developed by highly experienced marriage counselors who found a formula for what works. So they usually have a success rate higher than most marriage counselors. And being that you can draw from each individual book on its own, you can gather a whole bunch of different outlooks and different ideas to help you along the way. Whatever you do, don't delude yourself into thinking that problems between you and your spouse will just disappear on their own. It's not enough to sit and wonder if someone can help you save your marriage. You need to decide where you're going to go for sound advice and act on it as soon as possible. The longer you put it off, the harder your problems will be to solve. This was Who Can Help Save My Marriage from RelationshipLoveAdvice.com. This is Jay. If you haven't already, I'd like to ask you to visit www.RelationshipLoveAdvice.com and find out the 7 truths of love very few people are aware of. I'll see you there.